Just carry on. How many chapters does this have? It's been a few days since my last encounter with Neil at the park, and I've all but put the memories of it behind me, secretly hoping he'll just forget about it. I've been quite busy with my store. There've been a new shipment of fabric, and I'm excited to get all of the color and textures I have available at my fingertips. I lay them all out on the counter, wondering what I should create with them. A quilt. The bell rings and I look up at the door. I stop dead in my tracks when I see it's Neil again. Oh no, he's come for his watch, hasn't he? Just when I've put him out of my mind, he's here to remind me again of what transpired. He looks around the store a little bit before his gaze settles on me. Good day, Articles. I hope you're in a better mood since the last time we've met. I'm gonna kill you! That depends on whether or not I'm going to like what you say, said Jimmy. Neil clicks his tongue at me and then leans his elbows onto the counter, clasping his hands together and resting his chin on top of them. Like this? Or like this? Because there's a difference. He looks over at me, studying me with his eyes. What else would he study you with? I suddenly feel a little defenseless. Kill him. Let's talk about my watch. No! I swallow, knowing this was coming. Luckily, I'm not daft enough to forget to insure such an expensive item, especially one with sentimental value. I've contacted my insurance company and they will get the full amount reimbursed. Look at him nagging. Okay, that's it. Got money back. Great. Good job. This doesn't mean you're absolved of any responsibility. I'ma kill you! Neil says in a much more serious tone. He casts his eyes down to the counter and his fingers hover over my new fabric. He seems a bit intrigued. Do not touch my things. Do not touch my things. Hello, cat. She scared me. You did break a personal item of mine. I will break your fingers. And pray tell, what would you like me to do about that? You've already had the money refunded. There's nothing else I can do. Unless you want to say you somehow managed to cut off your finger on the broken piece of glass, and I want to be reimbursed for that too. I'm mocking his accent as I keep going. Neil frowns at me, then shakes his head a little, clicking his tongue dismissively at me again. I'm not sure if such a tiny piece of glass could ever pose a threat to me, but I'm glad you're concerned about my well-being. I'ma kill you! That's a step above yesterday's attitude. It was a few days ago. Do you not know what time is because your time thing broke? Don't even have words. I'm so upset. I want to be nice. Just gonna be nice. Maybe I'll calm down. You didn't have to be so mean about it. You want me to praise you for destroying my watch. There are more things than... I hate this man. Should I have complimented you instead that you somehow magically knew the exact spot to drive that 3-inch heel of yours through the center of the glass? That's very specific, and how did you know my heels were 3 inches? You're very good at judging inches. Just gotta leave it at that. Because consider it done. You did a fine job at breaking my watch. I could have done a better job. And I will when I break your fingers. I cringe. He does a fine job at making me feel small and insignificant. No, he doesn't. Like everything I do is wrong. His words cut like a sword. I feel like I can't compete and talk back. Just kill him. What do you want? If I ask him. Neil straightens his back. Last time you mentioned that you'd make a dress shirt, correct? Oh, make you the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life. I don't answer that. It seems an opportunity presented itself, and while I do have my own tailor who has delivered some of the best work in the country, perhaps I can make use of your skills. He looks down at the fabric on the counter. Are you gonna make me make freaking napkins for you? I can feel his words sting with venom. He's mocking me, looking down on me. And what exactly do you want? I ask, ready to decline his offer. A well-tailored blazer, Neil says as he puffs out his chest to make a point. If it's adequate to my tastes, I can forgive your previous actions. I'm gonna line it with cyanide. I want to decline so badly, but I do not much care for Neil's pompous attitude, the way he's subtly mocking my tailoring skills. However, I also realize I've destroyed an expensive watch of his, and a mere sorry won't do. I'm not gonna apologize. Plus, it seems he won't leave me alone, so I sigh and hang my head down. Milk him. He doesn't know how much anything costs. Just put up your prices by 300%. Alright, I say. Splendid. The sooner you finish this, the sooner you can return to... He points to mannequin standing to counter. This. Neil shakes his head a little. What's this doing over here anyway? You could create a much bigger impression if I'm going to strangle you with your tie. Suddenly Neil grabs hold of the mannequin and moves it away from the counter. Presumptuous. Hey, I yell out, don't just move things around in my store. Neil drops it at the place near the entrance where the sunlight hits it. That's gonna bleach the fabric. See, the way the light falls from the windows of the door would make this perfect spot to highlight your latest fashion. Bleaches. No one asked you to start touching and moving my mannequins around. Put it back. I look over to where Neil is and I suddenly see his point. Placing the mannequin into the direct sunlight gives a bigger impression. Makes the layout of the store more harmonious as well. And it will bleach the fabric. So you need to change the mannequin dress like daily. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Neil grins at me. Are you sure you want me to put it back? I'm killing you. I have the sudden urge to wipe that smug look off his face and scrunch up my nose. No, leave it. Just stop touching my things. You know what? I'll return another time for the measurements. How about next Friday? Capitalize your weekdays. It's not like I can say no, so I nod my head at him. Friday's fine, I guess. Very well. I'll see you then. Good day. Neil fixes his collar, then looks at the mannequin with a nod and leaves the store. I'm never going to get rid of this guy, am I? No. Not unless you kill him. Honestly. How many chapters are there? It's been so long, Neil. Let me be. Today, Sarah decided to come over and take some pictures with me. I used her skills as a photographer to get the best shots of my clothing line. Then used them to advertise my boutique by spreading flyers. It's been working pretty well, and me and Sarah are just now wrapping up another photo shoot that took place in my back room. We had a model pose for the pictures, but I put a few on outfits myself as well. It was fun. I am in love with this Sinon 20D, she says as she's looking through the viewfinder of her recently purchased camera. I'm sure. You've been non-stop gushing about it since you got it, I reply. I know, but you don't understand how great it is. The picture quality is amazing, the most compact and lightweight camera yet in the series. I simply smile at Sarah as she goes off on all the technical details about her camera. I don't really understand much about it. I'm grateful Sarah helps me with photo shoots for my clothes. Without her, I don't know if I'd get any customers visiting the store at all. Probably would. You know, looking at your pictures, you could simply be a model instead. You've got the height for it and a pretty face. Sarah. I smile sheepishly at Sarah for the compliment. I prefer making the clothes instead of wearing it. I'm only doing this for the publicity. Oh, no, I'm not complaining though. At least you're a friendly face. Most of my customers are vain models who think they're the hottest thing on earth. The divas in the making. Even try to get me to work for them for free, for exposure, they say. Worst. Sarah shakes her head in disagreement, then goes back to looking through her camera lens. There's a creep staring at us. I blink at her. Excuse me? Sarah fixes the zoom on her lens, still looking through the viewfinder. Yeah, purple-haired dude right outside looking at you. Isn't that the guy from the cafe? Then she takes a picture. I whip my head around to look over near the windows, but I don't see anyone. Huh? There isn't anyone there. You sure you saw someone? Sarah walks up to me and shows the LCD screen of her camera. Has the last picture she took displayed on it. See? Picture quality is so great that I can see with 100% certainty that it is Neil who is standing in front of my store, shielding his eyes from the sun to get a better look. His face looks oddly weird. Confused why he's peeking through my window. It's not Friday yet. Isn't that the same guy from the cafe? Has he been harassing you? Sarah asks. Want me to beat him up for you? Yes, Sarah. Oh no, no need. I pause. I think. Please. Sarah watches me carefully. A bumpkin like you won't even recognize a dangerous situation if it hit you in the face. We're city folk here. It's different. How different? Sarah shrugs her shoulders at me. Dangerous. We get creeps here, just prowling around looking for some pretty girl they can get their hands on. I frown at her and feel an odd chill run down my back. I'm sure that's not gonna happen. Neil doesn't seem to be like that, I think. I only feel the sting of his words sometimes. Sarah puts her finger up in my face, like a warning sign. See? That naivety is going to get you into trouble someday. Just be careful, okay? If someone's bothering you, let me know. I have a gun. I smile at her and give her a light slap on her arm. You just want to be a hero for the pretty girl. Sarah grins at me. You know it. She tucks her camera inside of her bag. Anyways, I'll send you the pictures once I edit them. I'm sure they turned out quite awesomely. She sighs lovingly. The Sin in 20D, my true love. Get a room, I joke. Sarah winks at me and then says goodbye. Sarah, I love you. When she's gone, I wonder about what she said about creeps and whatnot. It's better not be foreshadowing. Is it really that dangerous in the city? I haven't really felt uncomfortable or scared at all so far. Neil isn't dangerous, although I do question why he was outside my store just now, as he has no reason to be there, not until Friday anyway. Maybe he is a stalker or something. I decide to head outside my store and have a look around, but I see no one. It's quite puzzling why Neil was just here a moment ago. Let it go. I head back inside. I've got better things to do. Time passes by. I continue tending to my store, and eventually I place the close sign at the entrance and turn off the lights. Today was an okay day for business. I hope the pictures that Sarah took will help me out and boost my sales. I just need to spread the flyers around myself once I've got them printed. That's expensive. Wanting to take a well-deserved break, I head over to the cafe. The sun is setting in the background, making everything glow a nice, calming orange. As soon as I reach the cafe, I spot someone familiar in the distance. My eyes bulge out a little as I realize it's Neil. No way. Is Sarah right? Is he some creep stalking me? Okay, you've run into each other at least twice now. Just in the vicinity. Just because he's there doesn't mean he's a stalker. As much as I hate him. Like, don't make assumptions. I stop walking, almost considering to turn around and walk the other way, but then someone else enters the scene. A nurse emerges from the hospital next to the cafe, running over towards Neil, waving a clipboard at him. Smack him in the face. He turns around to address the nurse. They seem to be heavily engaged in some kind of dispute. There's some heated words being thrown around, and I can tell Neil does not want to be there. Eventually, Neil signs something on the clipboard and quickly paces away from the nurse. Of course, that also means he's heading straight towards me.
Oh.
He finally notices me. I see genuine surprise on his face, but it's immediately replaced by an angry frown. I mean, my face does bring anger and, like, feelings, so I don't mind if people look at me and immediately their day is worse. That's good. Suffer. Now I'm out of hot chocolate. Oh great. Another incompetent person who always messes up, and I thought I was already finished with work. Neil snaps at me. Taken aback by his words and sarcasm. It's not like I warranted that kind of response by simply being near him in his presence. I haven't done anything yet. Ask him why he's so angry. Giving him the benefit of the doubt, perhaps he was just having a bad day. I decide to ask him about the nurse. Are you angry because of something that nurse said? Neil simply gives a loud and disgruntled laugh. It's none of your business. It isn't. I'm really sick of hearing Neil say it's none of my business. Well, whatever happened, you didn't need to take it out on me. Imagine, after a long day at work, trying to fix someone else's mess, you come across another incompetent person who's been known to make a mess before. Of course I'm not going to be in a very jolly mood. I didn't even need to talk to you. I'm just at this cafe. I should find another cafe. He's acting like I'm some kind of stampeding bull in a China store, just a walking disaster waiting to happen. You kind of are. You just happened to witness 2 accidents caused by me. That doesn't mean I'm like this all of the time. I make mistakes, essentially. Your mistake cost me 6,000 euros, he grunts. It did not. If you go to the right places, it's not that much money. Don't wear a 6,000 euro fucking watch. You said you got reimbursed for that. Neil's golden eyes narrow at me, and I can see he's trying to hold himself from showing too much emotion. He takes in a deep breath, closing his eyes entirely. And they would very much like to know who the idiot was that broke it in the first place, so they can send you the bill instead. Murder! Now, unless you'd like to pay that 6,000 euro bill, I suggest you hold your tongue, and I do as I say on Friday. You don't know shit about sewing, I'm gonna prick you with needles, steal some of your hair, make a voodoo doll. I look down at the pavement, feeling angry, but unable to speak up, as I know he's in the right, and I hate it. Instead of saying another word, I simply shoot him a dirty look. Have a nice evening, Miss Spectacles. Neil briskly walks away, and I'm left behind feeling irritated once more. What a jerk. Why did he come all the way here just to yell at me? It seems like an unnecessary use of your time. So many chapters. The pictures that Sarah took of me last week turned out pretty well. They even got a lot of traction on social media and boosted my sales somewhat. Not by any substantial amount, but enough to see a difference. Sarah has to deal with me ranting about a certain jerk with no manners these couple past days. He is simply so rude to me that it still leaves me fuming. Of course, Sarah offered to beat him up for me again, and this time I almost took her up on her offer, but I'd rather not give him more fuel to blackmail me. Yeah, he can afford lawyers. So I'd do almost anything to see him got knocked down a peg or two. Just prick him with your needles. Also, I don't know where Neil lived or worked for a while until Sarah reminded me of his last name. Forrester. The Forresters own the hospital, so I guess Neil must work there if I always seem to run into him in the surrounding area. Just go to another cafe. Nonetheless, realizing where he works doesn't matter much to my current predicament, because today is Friday. Yep, Neil is supposed to be coming over for his measurements, and I am not looking forward to this one bit. Is he going to be snappy towards me again, and insult me like last time? I really don't want to find out. The bell jingle disturbs me with my thoughts, and I look up at the entrance. It's just another customer. I sigh. I help my customer buy a dress, and once I'm left alone in the store, it's a slow day. My eyes dart over towards my childhood pictures, and I recall the time I met Neil, when he was just a little boy, and he seemed so sweet and scared back then, nothing like what he is now. Now he's just a spoiled rich brat who doesn't know how to exercise common decency. I huff. A feeling of dread wells up in my stomach the longer the hours tick by. It's closing time and I've already put up the close sign, and Neil hasn't shown up. Even if I wanted to berate him for being late, there's no way to contact him. It's not like I have his phone number. I'm not even sure I want his phone number. Call his place of employment and complain. Of course he has the nerve to show up right as I'm closing. You're late, I say. Neil fixes the cuff on his sleeve as he walks over to the counter, a habit he seems to keep repeating.
Oh?
I don't remember agreeing on an appointed time slot for today. You cannot show up when the store is closing and expect it to be fine because you had an appointment. Kill him. I'm not in the mood for this. It clearly shows on my face. Neil simply exhales loudly. Let's just get this started. I gestured towards the back where my sewing room is located. The sooner I can get this over with, the sooner I can have Neil out of my hair. Look at all those stacks of felt. We both walk in this awkward silence, and once I shut the door behind me, it's just me and Neil in this tiny cramped sewing room. I don't know, it looks pretty spacious for a sewing room. Honestly, what have I gotten myself into? Nothing good. Neil stands in the middle, surveying everything with a critical eye, and I wish I had taken the time to clean up and organize everything before he could judge me for being messy. No. No. Let everything lie around. Eat your lunch. He came in after closing. Whatever you do now is his problem. I walk towards my crafting table and pick up a sketchbook along with a pencil. First thing first, let's get a design he likes. Alright, can you tell me a little bit about what kind of blazer you'd like? I say in a bored voice. Elegant, simple, streamlined, most expensive and durable fabric, dark gray, in other words, perfection. Florals it is. My pencil hits the sketchbook. I'm not really going to pay any mind to the most expensive fabric part, nor the perfection part, but at least I've got something to work with. I quickly sketch out a regular blazer, one of the most popular patterns. Neil waggles his finger at me. No. Do you think I'd be okay with commonly store-bought blazers? No, try harder. It needs more finesse. Cool, florals and tassels. Asking for more details. So what exactly do you have in mind? Would you like a secret pocket or something to hold all your cash? Maybe space for that stick up your butt. This makes Neil exhale air through his nose. He chuckled. Can't believe he chuckled. That was not a chuckle. That was an LOL. I think I can live without a secret pocket full of cash, but thank you for the idea. How about a secret pocket for weed? Well, then what is it? Would you like a different pattern? I've got several to work from. I'd like more shape to it. Right, so you like it more fitted. Alright, I can work that into the design. Nearly determined, I get back to sketching out several basic designs, which I put an elegant twist to it, hoping to satisfy his outrageous demands. Put on those penguin tails, and also just dip it in gold. When I finished a few, I show it to Neil, turning the sketchbook towards him. It's almost as if I'm waiting for his approval or praise, and that kind of bugs me. I mean, it is what you're doing. That's your job. His golden eyes glaze over the paper, inspecting the designs. He's got an interested look in his face as he leans closer over the table.
Oh.
If you could... Neil then tries to go for the pencil in my hand. His fingers brush over mine and he immediately jerks back, knocking the pencil out of my hand. What? Do I have poison on my skin? That was a good idea. I should have done that. It lands on the floor with a dull thud. You just broke the lead in that pencil, and now you owe me one. Quickly bends down to grab it without another word. Wonder what that was about. He's touching me so below him or something. Yes. Maybe you electrocuted him. How fun. I stare him down and he gets back up with the pencil. He tries to pass off like nothing has happened and then makes a few adjustments on some of my sketches, albeit in a very childish way. I don't think it's childish, it's probably just like he doesn't have the training. Do it like this. He places down the pencil. There are weird doodles all over my original sketch. You're definitely the next Picasso, says sarcastically. It wouldn't have to be if you got it right the first time. Neil fires back, crossing his arms. Now, something like this is to my tastes. I'm going to presume you don't have much high-quality fabrics lying around here, so I want you to sample the fabric before you purchase it. Do you want me to send it over to you with priority? Yes, I'd like that. Alright, cool. I'm gonna send it to your place of employment. In a box. Filled with suspicious things and also anthrax. I was joking. I didn't know you could joke. Excuse me. I am a joker. Neil and I stare at each other for a while, a tension building up between us. He's got his poker face on. It's hard to guess what's going on in his mind. Nothing. Then again, maybe it's not that hard to guess. All I know is that Neil sure likes to mock me and command me around. We'll worry about the fabric later. I just need to get your measurements first. This is the part I've been personally anguishing at night about, getting up on close and personal with Neil. Why? You can kill him. Just stab his jugular with like a seam ripper. Very well, take my measurements. Neil claps his hands together. Can't measure you if you're doing this, friend. You need to T-pose. Walks to the middle of the room expecting me to start. He's acting like he's in charge, and that's what's ticking me off just a tiny bit. This is my boutique. He'll have to do what I tell him, not the other way around. I could tell him to take off his shirt, for example. Not that I need to. I can take measurements through his shirt just fine, but it's for science. Articles. Articles. Stop. No. Measure him with his shirt on. We're not going there. I take out my measuring tape and step closer to him. His eyes are following my every move. It's unnerving. Turn around, I say. When he actually does turn around, I'm quite surprised. I expect him to reply with some witty comeback. I shake my head at myself and then place my tape against the nape of his neck, and Neil flinches at my touch. I frown at his back. Did I accidentally scratch you? I ask him, unsure. No, it's nothing. Continue. Are you touch-starved? If I make you uncomfortable, let me know. Take your own measurements. I said it's nothing. He repeats himself. Alright, if he says so. I put the tape all the way down and note the measurements. Arms up, I say, tapping his arm with my hand. Again, he flinches away from me, but doesn't make a sound or say anything. It's so peculiar. Perhaps he isn't quite used to someone touching him while he's being measured. If he has a tailor, he has to be used to this, right? He raises his arm and stretches them out so that I can reach all the way around him and wrap the tape around his chest. I tighten it and press the palm of my hand against his back. He arches his back a bit more, but the more pressure I exert, almost as if I'm slightly pushing him away. Maybe I should try and relax him, as he seems on edge around me. No! Let him suffer. So, do you work at the hospital? I ask, trying to distract myself from the awkward silence. Neil rolls his shoulders after I pull the tape off him. Why would you need to know that information? Where else am I going to send you stupid fabrics? I glare at his back while I note down the measurements again. Well, fine, don't tell me, Mr. Fancy Pants. Turn around, please. I grab his upper arm, noticing his skin jump when I do, and I spin him around so he faces me. Skin jump. How much worse is this if you get him to take off his shirt? Neil's making this weird face. He refuses to look at me. My family owns it, and that's all I'll say about the matter. So, what's this blazer for anyway? Any special occasion? I ask, only slightly interested in the answer. You ask too many questions. I do. And you don't answer enough, I say with a huff. If I know what the occasion is for, I create a fitting design for it. Dinner. Family dinner, he says gruffly. With your parents? Yes. So he's having dinner with his parents. His parents are the foresters, they own the hospital. I do wonder what Neil does at the hospital. But I get getting the answer out of him is like pulling teeth. So don't bother, just stop trying. I lower my body and tighten the tape around his waist, my eyes focused on the numbers. I try to take measurements of his waist, but that's when I noticed how tense Neil is. He's sucking in his stomach. Stop sucking in your stomach. I don't care if you've got a bit of a gut. I need your real measurements. My ear itches. This is not going to work out if I get the wrong numbers. Not that I particularly care if he wears a blazer that's too tight on him. I'm doing no such thing, Neil denies. My body's perfectly healthy, for your information. I don't care. What part of me saying you gotta tell me makes it seem like you're unhealthy? I straighten up and look at him, which immediately turns his head away. You're tense. Just relax. How can one relax being prodded and poked and spun around like a ballerina? It's really fine. It's a little bit awkward, but it's like 5 minutes and it's over, dude. You can't relax around me? For some reason, this makes me gleeful. Like I finally have the upper hand after he's been such a jerk to me. Your weakness is me! Just breathe out and let me measure your waist. Neil takes a big breath and slowly exhales. His reaction is giving me this itch, like I want to touch him more. That's just mean. I tighten the tape around him and take a step closer, putting myself up and close and personal with him. I've been trying to avoid getting too close to Neil this whole time, but that was before I knew how much he'd fidget if I was up in his face. See, Articles, this is better. Pure torture. Neil awkwardly turns his face away with a cough. Don't cough at me, put the hand in front of your face. Are you okay? I ask him with a light smirk playing on my lips. Like I said before, I can stop if you're uncomfortable. I'm fine. His voice cracks a little. Well, if he says he's alright, I'm sure he doesn't mind if I slow down my actions to drag it out as much as possible. Articles, do we need to have a talk? Ma'am, please. It's like he's revealed his weakness to me and I can't help but want to prod and poke him. I want to tease him. Just murder him. I linger with my touch here and there, though it's still noting down actual measurements. He's fidgeting, but for some reason he's not telling me to stop. Have you ever gone to your other tailor? My eyes wander over his neck. I can see he's got goosebumps. Wait. That's not the kind of reaction I was expecting. Is he nervous? He's terrified of you. Ow, my eyes. Neil notices my staring and quickly covers his neck with his hand. Are you sure you even went to fashion school? You should have been done by now. You're only taking measurements of a human, not the whole wide world. That's fair. I mean, he would know. Alright, time to wrap this up. I measure his inseam one last time and give him a pat on his back. Done, said cheerfully. I didn't expect Neil to jump away from me in reaction to the pat on his arm. I barely have time to register that his feet get caught in my tape and he topples over. He reaches out to me to stabilize himself. Fine. His weight is too much for me to suddenly bear, and he brings the both of us down on the floor with a loud thump. You on my mirror? Dude, get off. It's bad luck. This music. Neil's head crashes against the mirror behind him and I collapse on top of him. I look at him in surprise. He gives me a similar look in return. He seems to be straddling his waist and I'm way too close to his face. Yes, get up. Neil's heartbeat thumps underneath my hand. Are you alright? I decide to ask once the shock wears off. PG. He says, his voice definitely cracking this time. He turns his head away from my gaze. Could you get off me now? Might as well. What's the rush? Seriously? Dale looks at me as if I've lost my mind. How about the fact that your weight is killing my air supply? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were so weak. It's good to know. I shift my weight around. Say please. This is fun. Neil looks agitated and embarrassed at the same time, like he can't bring himself to say the words, but knowing he kind of has to, since he doesn't have it in him to throw me off him. In other words, he's stuck with me unless he says the magic word. No. Neil bites his lip. Please, he says in a tiny, defeated tone. Yeah. I pick myself up with a smirk on my face. It's like I had Neil right under my thumb. Or I guess in this situation, literally under me. Sarah's gonna kill him. Once I've removed myself from him, Neil quickly gets up off the floor as well. For some reason, I don't have much faith in your measurements. I could tell you had to measure some parts again. He rubs his arm while glaring at me. I smile at him, knowing exactly why I went over some areas twice. We'll just have to find out now, won't we? If you've got the wrong measurements, I demand you create me an entire new suit. Right, sure. Whatever you say, Majesty. I roll my eyes at him, like I could ever make him a suit. And don't call me that, he spits out. Ah, seems I got under his skin. It's kind of fun, annoying him like this. Yes. Your Majesty, I say instead. Neil angrily stomps his foot on the ground like a petulant child. Any of those are unacceptable. Your Reverence, Your Highness, Your Grace. He then quickly composes himself. You may call me. I'm sticking with Your Majesty, so quickly cutting him off. Before he can get another word in, I circle around him and start pushing him by shoving my hands against his back. Get a small rush of satisfaction when I feel his skin twitch under my fingers, through his shirt and waistcoat. Ooh. Get your hands off me. Time to leave now. I'll let you know which fabric I've chosen, but right now it's closing time, so get up. I keep pushing him out of my room until one final shove puts him near the entrance of the store. He turns around, anger flashing in his face, and his ears are tinted with red. He wants to say something, but then immediately bites down on his lips and opens the door to leave.
Ah.
Good night, he yells out and slams the door behind me. So I stand there all alone, a grin creeps up on my face. Got under Neil's skin. Good, he deserves it for treating me like